Welcome back, anxious gamers, to another game-filled episode. We are your hosts. I'm Chris.
And I'm Josh.
We're going to kick things off the normal way this episode, with gaming news, games played this week, and our main topic, video games that got us through difficult times. So, without further ado, Josh, let's jump into some gaming news.
Got some good stuff this week.
Yeah, so I'm going to kick it off with something that I just discovered today, and it's kind of hidden, and a lot of people, other than maybe two YouTubers, have discovered this. Metroid Prime 4 registration got leaked on the UK Nintendo store. And the only time that Nintendo does a registration leak, which is where you can go on, you can register your email, and you will get updates on the game, updates on pre-orders, and any news or trailers that come out for the upcoming release. The only time Nintendo does that is when they for sure have a date coming. Right. And the UK is known for leaking stuff pretty early, especially
what is
Nintendo
happening
games.
over there?
Yeah, so that's the highlight of my day because everybody's jumping ship, freaking out. Apparently, the sequel to 1-2 Switch got announced. I don't even know the name of it. People call it the horse head game.
3-4 Switch?
Yes, it's something. Everybody's freaking out because they're like, okay, this is Tears of the Kingdom was Nintendo's final big game. Now they're doing a sequel to 1-2 Switch. They're at the bottom of the barrel. They need to get new hardware out, all this stuff. I don't think that's it. I think they're going to announce Metroid Prime 4 sometime, either if we have a June Direct, or they're going to wait until the fall, and then they're going to announce their upcoming hardware. And I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be
it's going to be a launch title?
I think it's going to be a launch title for the Switch too, but I do think it'll still come out for the regular Switch. But but it may be a selling point, get a Switch 2 and play it in 4K and 60 FPS or whatever. Yeah. Because what they did with the Metroid Prime remake, because Retro's taking over, and what they did with the Metroid Prime remake was just unreal with how outdated the Switch hardware is. So I definitely think that the Metroid Prime 4 game will be announced.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be exciting.
Yeah, I am excited because it was announced. Check. There's an echo.
Again?
Yeah, is it your headphones? Maybe.
Let me turn down my volume a little.
Check. Okay, we're good. We got to keep that in the podcast.
Okay.
So Metroid Prime 4 got announced, I believe 2016, 2017, and it was just the logo trailer. And then it got scrapped in 2019, and Retro took over, and it's been 4 years.
Wow.
Since then.
So and Metroid Prime 3, how long ago did that come out?
Oh, man, that was years ago. That was right around when the Wii was still, new.
Yeah. I was thinking it was that. I couldn't remember if it was a GameCube title or early Wii.
Early Wii.
That's been a long time.
Yeah. And then they had Metroid Prime Federation Force, which everybody hated, unfortunately. Yeah. Or Metroid Other M, Federation Force. And then they came back with the announcement of Metroid Prime 4 and then the remake of Samus Returns or whatever on the 3DS, which did great. Obviously, we got Metroid Dread Prime remake. I think it's going to get announced this year. I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be the turning point. I think it's going to be it's either going to be the last big Nintendo game they announce, or it's going to be like Twilight Princess was, where it comes out on both systems.
Yeah.
So
I also hope that it's in some ways Nintendo's answer to maybe competitive multiplayer.
That's
Splatoon kind of is, but I feel like with Metroid it can be a little bit more Halo-esque.
Yes, yeah. Playing through the Metroid Prime remake and the way that they redid the graphics, and I may have mentioned this in a previous episode, but it looks like Halo 4 level. And Halo 4 looked great, honestly. Yeah. It looked really good at the time and looks great on the Master Chief Collection, but they did such a good job. And I don't know if these employees, they may have gotten hired on by Retro, but before they scrapped the game, they had ex people from Crisis, from Halo 4. Like they had some pretty gnarly dudes
So they brought in people
that have
from
worked on
competitive
very good.
multiplayer shooters, yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think Nintendo's competitive multiplayer shooter Splatoon. I mean, that's proven. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like I.
It's
It's
not
not a
quite the
game.
same
It's
though.
not quite the same. I don't know if Metroid could do it. Honestly, what I would really like to see, I would love to see Nintendo make their own. Like, I mean, Metroid would be the go-to. Like, honestly speaking, like, yeah, let's
Mhm.
take Metroid, let's give it the same campaign, maybe make it open world, kind of like Destiny or something, where you can fly to planets, go and
Well,
explore.
do you remember on the DS, there was a Metroid demo that came with it,
Yes,
and it was a multiplayer, and it
yeah.
was very like GoldenEye-esque
Hmm.
of like
Yeah,
run
and that was
around and shoot
actually
each
that was
other.
actually a game too, Metroid Prime Hunters on
Yep.
the DS. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was cool.
I think I have the demo
And,
up there
and then
somewhere.
Metroid Prime 2 had multiplayer, but it was
Yeah.
like co-op or split screen or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I think they could do it. I'm sure. I don't know. I'm just curious to see. What I'm hoping for is just another really good, solid first person shooter campaign with Metroid elements. Maybe make it like Destiny, where you can kind of like zoom in with the guns, explore, go to planets, do some side missions and stuff. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Um, obviously keep all the traditional stuff, but yeah, I'm
That's exciting.
I'm ready for it. And who knows, maybe they'll drop like 2 remake, 3 remake, or really good HD versions of those over. And then we'd have like all the Metroids because Zero Mission's supposed to come to the Game Boy Advance
Mm.
service. So yeah, be sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Josh, talk to me about Apple. What's going on with Apple?
All right. So we have the WWDC conference, and it's basically just kind of turned into a conference where a lot of bigger tech companies do all of their keynotes and everything. Well, Apple just unveiled the Apple Pro Vision or Apple Vision Pro, which is an AR headset.
Oh man.
And so the interesting thing about this one, because like I've never seen like there was Google Glass, there was Microsoft had their AR headset, and there's never been one I'm like, "Ooh, I gotta have that." This is the
Mhm.
first one where I've seen it and I was like, "Okay, now that would be cool." So the interesting thing about this one is you put it on and it's almost like it looks like ski goggles, like it's clear
Yeah.
in the front, and
Interesting.
you see your room. Like, so I'm curious how you would do in one of these because it doesn't replace your vision. You're still in your room, in your house, wherever.
Okay.
It overlays screens and other things into your space.
I could probably do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but this one just like it looks pretty sweet. I would have to see it for myself, I think, to tell whether or not I would use it as much as I think that I would.
Yeah.
But it showed them hooking up a PlayStation 5 controller to it and then dragging out a giant screen and playing their PlayStation on it.
Wow.
Like it's almost a physical screen replacement device. And they called it like their spatial computing OS and all this stuff. But it's very
Was
Apple-esque.
was that
So it
via
has
remote play or
I'm not really sure. It didn't go into
okay.
detail.
Yeah, or
Um,
were they just playing maybe Apple games on the
it's
screen or
it's possible. I am
yeah.
curious why they would choose a PS5 controller specifically, because
Yeah.
there is the remote play. I mean, remote play would be fine if you're in your living room and you have your PS5 sitting right there. It's
Mhm.
going to do just fine communicating back and forth.
Yeah.
Um, but it looks really cool, and for my purposes, it's the first one that I've seen where I'm like, if I hook up a mouse and keyboard to that, I could work in this headset. I could clear off all the monitors on my desk and then just hook up, whichever computer I'm on,
That is true.
and then
Yeah.
have all my virtual monitors around me, keep my desk pretty well clear, and then resize things as I need.
I
Because
never
I've done that a little bit with like the Quest 2
yeah.
and my older headsets. You can hook those up and there's virtual desktop and all these things, but
Mhm.
there's no like you can't see your keyboard, and so things are just kind of weird. But because
Yeah.
this one mixes the real world with augmented reality, and it looks really slick.
I've never like gotten into having like dual monitors or anything, but with that, that would work. So being a musician, that would be incredible
Yeah,
to like have my computer, but then like just turn my head to look at like different
like, be
mixes.
yeah, and
Yeah.
just be able to see your instruments still while you have this headset on, like,
While you
you
have
don't
it
have to take it
on
off,
and you could just
and
check
it
your levels and
yeah,
yeah.
it does eye tracking, hand tracking, so I need to see more details about it. Of course, though, they Appled it. You wanna guess what the price is?
Oh, it's probably over 1,000, right?
Yeah, take a guess.
2 grand,
Higher,
4 grand.
almost.
Oh my God.
3,500, 34.99.
But like it's probably going to work great.
Right,
That's the
and so that I
thing.
think that's the
Like,
other thing is that because it's Apple, like, I know that it's gonna be simple setup, it's just gonna work.
hmm,
Because my experience, because 'cause I've been doing VR, like, since, um, the DK2, which was the development kit 2 of the Oculus. So before it was even, like, a product, I've been messing around with it, and the setup has always been
yeah,
complicated and all the wires, and the
yeah.
Quest 2 is not bad, I've got one sitting behind me.
Yeah, you've been
But
doing
again
VR for a long time. I mean, when we first met, that's
mhm,
what you put
yeah.
on me, and you were like, dance and spin around and get dizzy and play in a VR and throw up everywhere. No, I'm kidding.
Sorry.
You threw me
Give
in a
you
closet and started
give you
banging on the
VR
door.
sickness. Yeah,
Yeah. You were like, we're best friends.
yeah. Yeah, so that's the biggest thing that came out of that conference for me, was just that hardware, and I think it's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious. There was a leak of potential VR for like the Switch 2, which I'm totally fine if it's a separate thing. Like if they want to do that separately, I get it. I'm sure Nintendo would come up with like very cool innovative things with VR, but like if it's like
Maybe.
100% VR, I'm like out. I don't
Yeah.
know.
That toe they dipped into it with the Switch.
Labo thing.
Yeah, the Nintendo Labo.
Hmm.
All of the implementations of VR that I saw on that were terrible.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's I wonder if that was just kind of like centered around like let's like it's the Oculus off-brand for kids. Like, oh, you don't need
Yeah.
that. Let's get some cardboard and you can build your own Oculus. Yeah. Uh I don't know. Well, that's cool though. I mean, like you said, if it's one of those things where you can kind of just cuz I don't fully want to be immersed. I think that's
Right.
the thing.
It's a good
Um
mix,
it's a good
and I
mix.
think that's
Yeah.
why this one's probably gonna do better than, like, an Oculus or something,
Yeah. Well, that's really
or I guess
cool.
it's Meta now.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a
Yeah.
lot. So let's go boycott Apple and no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did it like was it white or like was it a cool color or was it like
It's black and white. So it's
black
like,
and white?
yeah, white strap and then white casing, but then it's black and then it's clear. I mean, it literally looks like a pair of high-tech ski goggles.
It's cool. It's making me think
I'll put a picture of it right here.
it's making me think of crisis goggles. Like,
Yeah.
like do you get like, cloak engaged,
Right, right.
maximum armor?
Can I jump 20 times higher than usual?
Yeah. Um Well, I feel like this is always a news segment. Let's talk a little bit more about Xbox and everything that
Okay.
they're going through. Um, I'll talk more about Xbox next news segment because I need to do some research, but they're actually getting sued um, due to child protection laws. 20 million, I saw.
Wow.
So, yeah, but we'll dip into that next week. Phil Spencer says no more CG trailers for first party Xbox games. They're actually going to potentially start actually showing gameplay of stuff that they have coming out. Uh, Fable 4, Perfect
Yeah.
Dark, whatever, that stuff.
Sounds like the
Um,
fans were finally loud enough.
that I think the fans were finally loud enough after the recent state of play.
Yeah.
Because that has been turning a lot of heads recently, especially Jim Ryan. Just like, I don't know with that guy, man. I'm not gonna bash him too hard, but I'm just I could go on a whole tangent about that, but I'm not gonna waste this episode on that. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I think that'd be great. It'd be great to show gameplay of games that you've been promising us Xbox fanboys for a very long time, and we don't
Yep.
see crap like other than like I'm going to the movies and watching trailer after trailer after trailer. So yeah, show me gameplay of Fable 4, even though I'm never going to play it because I don't like Fable. But like, it'd still be cool to see it because who knows? Maybe Fable 4 will be the one that gets
Yeah.
me into the series.
Maybe
So
they Elder Scrolls it a little bit more for you.
yeah. So, but yeah, common sense. Show real gameplay. I mean, that just do that,
Yeah.
please. Because I mean, even like the Tears of the Kingdom trailers looked very similar to the gameplay,
Right.
So like, even if it's something like that, but that's all of my
Agreed.
news items. What else do you have?
I've got one last one, and this
Okay.
is a hot topic here lately, but AI powered games. So
Mm,
Nvidia has jumped all in on the AI train,
mm-hmm.
and because their GPUs are actually really good for like computational AI and things like that. But they just showed a demo of what's called, it's kind of emergent gaming, but it showed somebody walking into, I think it was like a bar or a tavern, and they had a mic and they started talking to the NPC behind the counter,
Mm-hmm.
and it was generating dialogue and everything on the fly.
Wow.
And so it's at this point now where games can start utilizing AI to be just a little bit more dynamic. It's no more like pre-scripted scenes. Like I think they nudge the AI, like, here's what here's your personality, here's how you act, and like, here's how you get in and out of conversations, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual dialogue and all of that is AI powered and, on the fly.
I mean, I think it'll help tremendously, but I'm
It's going
curious
to
to
have to
see.
be, it'll have to be on guardrails because I could see that going
Yeah.
weird real quickly with the way that things like Chat GPT tend to hallucinate, is
Mm-hmm.
what it's called, where it starts saying things that are, it thinks are facts, but it's really just a weird hallucinative
Ooh, it's creepy.
hybrid of a bunch of different things.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see where it would help with creativity and, if you get stuck, totally fine, But like at the end of the day, I wonder how many like indie devs or something are going to get into this and just like start pumping out shovelware. That's just like
Oh, it's
AI
absolutely a
games.
can of worms. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, like being a musician, AI generated music has been a thing for some time now. Generated
Yep.
pop beats, you know.
And it's interesting being a developer because now, like, I use AI tools when I
Hmm.
code, and I'll like start to write a function and I'm like, okay, this function should do this. And then the AI is just like, well, here's the next line. And then usually like it works maybe 60-70% of the time. And
Yeah.
then but it'll get you most of the way there, and then you just got to kind of nudge everything into place.
Hmm.
But I mean, the speed that I develop things has increased exponentially due to AI. It's
Yeah, I
crazy. It's
bet.
crazy.
Yeah. It's technology. There's a good and bad side to it. I mean, like
Yeah.
that's always, but I think if it benefits, go for it, you know.
Yeah. It's
Just
just,
don't use AI if I have to have a surgery or something. Like if I have to get my gallbladder removed, it's like AI.
I
What
don't know.
should
You
I?
may want AI to do that because I mean, they've been using machine learning for a long time to do things like identify certain cancers. Because
Yeah, yeah.
that's what machines are really good at, is hand them a whole bunch of data and they'll find patterns.
Hmm.
And I mean, that's kind of what everything is. But we'll get into a whole episode on AI. I could talk about this all day
Yeah,
long.
that's crazy. Well, we'll jump out of the news segment, and we're going to talk about games that we played this week. So, what have you been playing?
So I know that on the last episode I said I'm going to try to play something that isn't Tears of the Kingdom, and I failed. Um, Besides a little bit of D&D,
Mhm.
It's been, yeah, still all Tears of the Kingdom despite having finished the story.
Yeah.
I am still finding so much content, and I'm working toward completely lighting up the depths.
Okay, that's cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
I'm finding a
I
lot of really cool stuff down there.
Same thing. I've been still binging Tears of the Kingdom. I did pick up one game that just came out that I was really excited about. It's Warhammer 40,000
Yeah,
bolt gun.
yeah.
Um, I'm a sucker for like first person shooters that come over to Switch, and especially like the Doom esque shooters. It's really fun. I mean, it's quick. Like if I get stressed out on a shrine or something on Tears of the Kingdom, I'll go blow up a bunch of people, and then I'll come back on Tears of the Kingdom. But no, it's mainly 100% been Tears of the Kingdom as well. I just finished getting another heart container. Uh,
Nice.
did the Rito
Mhm.
dungeon. I went to Gerudo Town, which I saw some very familiar enemies there. No spoilers. Got some heat gear, and I'm gonna go to Goron City because I wanted the Vo armor instead of the Goron
Mm.
heat armor. So
I don't know that it'll work.
I think it will because it's still heat resistant. So like not just the headband, but I got the headband and the pants. And I
Yeah.
found that if you combine just two heat elements, it'll you can go through unbearable heat.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But if you do just one, it won't. Like one will work to a certain point, but the minute your gauge goes all the way to the right or the left, you have to have two pieces. Because that's what I did
Okay.
with the Rito. I wore the snow trousers and I bought um, the Rito armor
Mhm.
or whatever, or the headband. I did one or the
Nice.
other.
Have you
So
done any of the Dragon's Tears?
not yet. No.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna
Just
do.
checking in to see where you are.
I think I'm gonna kind of take like the traditional Zelda approach. I'm gonna do all the dungeons,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna go find like all the glyphs, tiers, or
Mhm.
whatever that stuff. Like, because you know, like in A Link to the Past, it was like 3 dungeons, go get the sages kind of thing. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna do all the that stuff towards
Okay.
the end. So
Um, and I think it'll be easier for you since you've already unlocked you've done all the towers and everything, right?
I have two more towers I need to
Okay.
do. Yeah. So, which I plan on hitting those because I'm about to be back to the Elden region. So
Yep.
I'm gonna go knock those out.
Have you found it's in the giant crevice thing? It looks like the Grand Canyon kind of. It's toward the western side of the map.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a
It's
lot I still haven't done because I'm just
okay.
I'm doing a weird playthrough. But I will say the whole time I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom, I'm okay with restarting because
Interesting.
I found out how to repair weapons. Yeah.
Oh, is this the trick where you um attach something and then go to Terrytown to have that Goron take off the attachment?
Mm-mm.
Oh, how did you
No.
repair?
So in Breath of the Wild, you know the little Octorok guys that can suck
Mhm.
up rusty weapons and they'll spit out like shiny new weapons.
Yeah.
If your weapon is about to break, don't throw it at them. Drop it in front of them. In Tears of the Kingdom, they'll suck it up and they'll shoot out a new version of it. So
Ooh,
one of
okay.
my Fierce Deity swords was about to break, so I dropped it and it cleaned it and it's brand new. So no
Okay.
more having to hunt pose and buy weapons that are going to break after 10 or 12 hits. So,
Good to know.
mhm. Yeah, Game Explain has a really good video on it. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's exciting. That and just that, I'm like, I want to replay this. Like, I want to, like, I don't know. It's weird because I think I really liked the opening of the game, like the Great Sky Islands, and
Mhm.
just, it's kind of growing on me more now. So,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah, the only other thing that this isn't playing, but I have been
Mhm.
watching some footage of Diablo 4.
Me too. I almost bought it today.
It looks pretty good.
It looks really good. I'm holding out because I'm still playing Tears of the Kingdom and I don't want to get
Mhm.
sidetracked or anything. I just want to take my time
The
and
only thing I'll say is the whole controversy around microtransactions. is absolutely valid. $25 for armor, horse armor.
I
I
heard
remember
too.
when I think
You get a
Skyrim released horse armor and it was like a dollar or something, and
yeah.
people were like, "This is ridiculous," and now it's 25.
I heard too in a review that it takes like a really long time to get a horse in the game, and it's like huge. Like the game's huge, and you have to travel a lot by foot and stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I caught a horse as soon as I dropped off and then I
Right.
kept Tears of the Kingdom kept all my horses. Like
Yeah,
that's the issue I'm running into now, Josh, is like Tears of the Kingdom has the Breath of the Wild effect where it's like, oh, you can't do this in another game. I don't want to play that game anymore.
right.
Like so yeah.
What do you mean I can't build a catapult that's gonna launch me halfway across the map?
Yeah. What do you mean I can't just teleport wherever I want to go?
Yeah.
Like, come on. So yeah.
Okay, but we'll stop talking about Tears of the Kingdom. I know this is
Yeah,
3 episodes in a
sorry.
row.
Well, I
It's
mean,
probably it's gonna be present for a while,
I'm
though.
about to talk about it even more, but I'll actually save that for later in our main discussion.
Okay.
So let's kick things off with our main topic. So our main topic are games that got us through difficult times. I have four games to talk about. Um, Josh, what's a game that you know you just sorry.
So
This is gonna be hard to talk about. There were two games where I'm like, I don't even want to talk about what I was going through, so we'll save those for the next mental health episode.
so it's actually interesting. I've been thinking about this topic a lot,
hmm
and it's really weird because I can't pinpoint, like, one single game. Like, I have a type of game that I play when my
Okay.
mood's all over the place, and it usually goes back to some sort of, like, JRPG or
hmm
Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, Zelda, like, something that feels familiar,
hmm
that has, like, I don't know. I don't really want a lot of action. I don't want a lot of heavy story. I just want something that's relaxing. And I tried really hard this week to put together a list of games, and I don't have one. Um,
Interesting. Yeah.
so it's weird, but my answer is like most games.
Most games.
It's just
Yeah.
gaming in general and the effect that that has on, I guess, my mental health and
hmm
stress levels and all of that because it's I don't know. There's a lot of like unhealthy habits I could turn to,
hmm
but games has been like the longest running, and I have to be like in a really bad mood, like really low,
hmm
anxiety wise, depression wise, for games not to be something that can get me out of it. Although I have a couple of I guess specific points where I can recall which game helped. So I guess I
That
can start there.
that's kind of what I was getting at by this topic this week is like because I feel the same. Gaming has always helped me, and honestly, when I'm super depressed, I don't even want a game. Like I don't even want to do anything, and it's not to the point of like suicide and stuff. It's just like I just don't feel like doing it because I like to be happy when I game.
Yeah.
But like you said, there are games that just kind of I guess stood out to me more when I was going through weird transitions in my life
Mhm.
and which are kind of considered difficult times. But no, I agree with you 100%. It's like, yeah, like people could easily turn to drugs or violence or, addictions, but like gaming just kind of keeps that away as long as it doesn't become an addiction, like a
Yeah.
bad addiction. So,
Yeah. Like not working.
like raise your kids. So, yeah. So what is a game that or what do you have that
So I guess the main one, because this is probably the most recent one, about
Tears of the Kingdom?
yeah, no, like 3 years ago. So
Uh,
I've always had, sort of anxiety. Um, but then I had that we sold the house, moved out here. We were living with the in-laws while we were either trying to build or
mhm,
find a house to buy. I had my job had been acquired, or the company I worked for had been acquired by another company. There was all of that. The pandemic had and was still going on, and there was just all this change that had happened, and, I was turning 30, and so that probably didn't help, and I just had this, like, anxious breakdown, I guess, but, like, couldn't get out of bed. I thought I was dying. I ended up in the ER at one point, just, like, couldn't feel my hands, and then come to find out it was a really bad panic attack.
Hmm.
I thought it was a heart attack at the time, um, and it was my 30th birthday, so I bought a new computer, and even though it was kind of hard to focus, I bought a DS5. I didn't have the PS5 yet, but I had the controller, and I bought Death Stranding on Steam. And there's something weirdly calm about that game, despite all of the pretty scary parts, like when you end up around
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
um, the shadow people things,
Hmm.
but just
Hmm.
like walking across the landscape, delivering packages.
Yeah, just like the walking sim. I mean, that's like the feeling I
Yeah,
get out of Minecraft or something, or even Tears of the Kingdom right now, just running and walking and going
like
and
exploring. Yeah.
exploring. Yeah.
And there was something about like that was I tried playing some other games in that time period, like Control and all of that. Control really got my anxiety up, so that was a
It,
tough one
it's yeah, very action
during that time.
oriented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, weirdly, Death Stranding
That's
just had,
cool.
like it had enough of a story, I guess, but it wasn't too
Yeah.
heavy.
Yeah. I
I
bet
don't know.
that game ran great with like using the dual sense too and
Oh, it
stuff.
was
Like,
yeah, it was nice, and this
yeah,
brand new computer that at the time, it was the 3070, so it was, you know, pretty new.
that's awesome. Um, well, I'm going to talk about it now just to get it out of the room. Tears of the Kingdom right now for me because I've had
Yeah,
a lot of life transitions, but I'm going to throw in Breath of the Wild's tied to it. So,
okay.
like 5, 6 years ago when Breath of the Wild came out, I was going through transitions. Like, we bought the house. I started my business teaching guitar. My friend boss at the time walked in uh, on Christmas Eve and told me that he was shutting down the music store.
Oh,
And
man.
he basically was like,
That's terrible
I need to
timing.
know by like April or May if you're going to buy me out. If not, you need to find new work. And so, like,
He
thankfully, I was
couldn't
able.
wait, like, 2 more days?
It was a stressful time. His dad was like a grandpa to me, really great guy, and he died of cancer that year.
Mm.
And so just a lot of we're still good on terms and stuff. Like we're
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
still
yeah.
good friends. We talk all the time. But it was just one of those things. Like, am I going to buy a dying business, or am I going to take my clients and move and do that? Which I did that, and then so like
Good choice.
during that time, thank you. I was playing Breath of the Wild, and it was helping me, you know, just ease up, get out of the real world, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Well, then I hit a huge, like, you started having panic attacks again, got on medication, all that stuff. So Breath of the Wild really helped during that. Fast forward to now, 6 years later, I'm doing the same transitions again. I shut down my studio that I'd been at for 5 years, and I moved my clients over here, and I'm working from home. This is my second week. It's been going great. I'm in a way better headspace. I'm about to turn 30 in a month, so like I've things have been good. But I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom during this transition, and
Yeah,
it's perfect timing because I'm home more.
you're
but
right.
uh, but it's just once again being in that world and with all the new things and stuff. It's helped me kind of cope with because like I've had a lot of indigestion recently, stomach aches, kind of stuff. And I'm
Mhm,
like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, maybe this is kind of like hidden depression that I don't feel because one, I'm medicated, but two, like I just made a huge transition. So I
mhm.
think my body's just kind of like adjusting to it. And so I've been kind of like up and down recently, but I'm like, oh, everything's fine. Like I'm good. I don't have
Yeah,
anything going on. Um, so I just need to enjoy this. So yeah, that's a
nice.
game that's helped a lot, kind of, till I get pissed off at a shrine. So
Did you find the race car shrine? Not to jump off to Tears of the Kingdom
yes,
again.
I did. I did that, and then I loved the Garuda, the sand car one where you
Yeah,
like, yeah, that was a lot of fun making a little
that little
sand buggy, you
yeah,
know?
the little side game.
Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah.
was cool. So,
Yeah, the first one I built did not make it through all the quicksand. It got buried. So
yeah.
finally I made like a hovercraft thing with a sled.
And the rewind feature has grown on me now because I'm like, I forget it's there. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, wait, I like,
There's so much you can do with it.
yeah, so much. But so Death Stranding, good
Mhm.
pick there. Anything else? Or,
Specifically, I
mhm.
would say Stardew was the other one.
Yeah, you were on a huge Stardew or Animal Crossing. Did Animal Crossing?
Well, beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
pandemic.
because
Yeah.
we were in Dallas
Hmm.
and it was, we didn't know what was going on. It was beginning of the pandemic. Like I would go to the grocery store fully masked up, would get home and would Lysol the groceries. Like that's how like
Yeah.
because had just had our younger son,
Hmm.
and we had gone through this whole thing where my wife had to go to the hospital a week early for preeclampsia, and I wasn't allowed to be there with her because of COVID
Yeah.
protocol.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so then I was the only one allowed at the hospital when she actually gave birth. And then I was freaked out for like the first week or two because I had a sore throat and I was worried that I had COVID, and like I had taken tests, but like I was masking up in the house. Like I wouldn't really do much with our
Yeah.
son that had just been born. And
Awful.
like I was so anxious to like keep him safe that I wasn't helping. And I was
Hmm.
just kind of like sitting off to the side, like doing what I could from there. Um, but then Animal Crossing had come out like shortly before that. And once I kind of got back into that routine and calmed myself down, like things got better.
Yeah.
But yeah, Animal Crossing did help out then. But I would say Stardew, when I first discovered it years ago.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Because I didn't know. I was confused. The reason why I brought up Animal Crossing. I feel like you started Stardew right around when Animal Crossing came out, but no, you've been playing it for.
yeah, Stardew, I bought, I think it was 2016,
Jeez.
something like that.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I'm not crazy. Yep, 2016.
Cool.
Um, yeah, that was when it came out. So I bought that in 2016, which was before either of my kids were born.
Hmm.
But then my wife has terrible pregnancies for whatever reason. Like it's always like high blood pressure, or
That's right. Yeah.
this last one
Yeah.
gave her, celiac disease. So kicked that whole thing off. Um, but
Oh.
Stardew came out around that time, and it really was just like for the pregnancy and the feeling of life changing, and I had changed jobs, and we bought a house and all this stuff in around December of 2016. And it gave me that feeling like that, you talked about that childhood nostalgia of
Hmm.
like Breath of the Wild giving you that same kind of feeling that Ocarina of Time gave you.
Hmm.
Stardew gave me that same feeling of when I first discovered Harvest Moon on the Super Nintendo.
Did you see they brought Harvest Moon over on the Switch Online, Super Nintendo?
No, I didn't. I'll have to do that.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
it
that
came
one is
over.
actually still pretty good.
Okay, I'll check it out because I've never played a Harvest Moon game. So
Really?
yeah,
That's surprising to me.
so buy one and I'll play it. No,
Yep.
I'll come over and play it with your
Well,
awesome collection behind you.
start with the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
That's a good intro.
Okay.
Um, because that was my intro to it. It's kind of like how a lot of people say like SimCity 2000 is the one to start with. I think the SimCity on the Super Nintendo is the best one to start with
Okay. Yeah.
because it's the most simplistic and it gets you into the idea of the games.
Sweet.
It's still, I mean, the core concepts are all there. You move into a town, you got to meet all the villagers, build relationships with them, grow your crops, take care of your animals, marry somebody. Like it's a little life sim. Harvest Moon tends to be a little bit fantastical, like there's fairies and some of those mystical elements, but
Cool. All right, I'll
it's good
check it out.
stuff. It's good
Yep.
stuff for
Let me make sure it's the
coping
actual
mechanisms.
good Harvest. Was there only one Harvest
I
Moon?
believe there was only one because the next one should have been Harvest Moon 64.
Which was that one okay?
It was alright. It had a weird isometric view, but I mean, it
That's
was basically Super like, it was the Super Nintendo Harvest Moon, but
but
with
3D.
isometric sorta it was one of those weird N60 I think it was early,
Okay.
where it was like 2D sprites in a 3D world.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was more of
Harvest
a
Moon.
3D camera, but
That's cool.
nice.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
I'm gonna have to check it out too.
Yeah. So
Maybe that'll be
Star.
on next week's "What have you been playing"
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, that's right. So Stardew, that's a good pick. You
Mhm.
know, gets you
A little bit of Animal Crossing,
a little bit of Animal Crossing.
and then randomly some Death Stranding in there.
Death Stranding. Yes. Um, Okami. That was a game
Mm,
that so
I
I've
could see that.
talked about it a lot, and I mentioned, in previous episodes, because I believe that was like top 5 games, right? Or it was an honorable mention or something. Uh,
Mhm.
I love that game, and I played it on the Wii originally. I know it was on PS2. Played it on Wii. Now I have it on Switch. Highly recommend. It's on sale right now for like $10. So very good game if you're a fan of Zelda. But
And if you've never played it, I was one of those people until, like, a month ago, and I will say it's absolutely held up, it's still fun,
yeah,
plays
yeah,
well. It's a
really
really
good
cool game.
game. So I mentioned that I was looking for a game to play, but I didn't mention why I was looking for a game. Uh, I had just started freshman year, and it was actually freshman year wasn't bad, but I hate school, and I did good in school, but I hate the whole system and all that stuff, and especially with all the shootings going on, that's a whole other topic. But I had just started dating my
Now
wife,
wife, yeah.
yeah, now wife, um, and it was one of those, you know, when you date in high school, like she didn't have texting. We didn't have iPhones. I only got to see her at school. And
Mhm.
so I just knew instantly like that's who I wanted to be with, like we just hit it off,
Aw,
and we had been together for at least 6 months at that point. And I was just depressed, man, because we were on like holiday break at the time. I didn't know her family. I didn't get to spend holidays with her. So like I got like love fatigued and like just down. And so I discovered
that's a
Okami, and that game helped me a lot. And then as soon as I started playing it, she got texting on her phone and we could actually start talking
nice.
and everything. So it kind of like rebounded and worked out. But that game just like I still haven't beaten it yet, and I'm at the very last area because like I've been holding off this whole time because it's like the Ocarina of Time effect where it's like I just don't want to beat it because it's like an end of an era, man.
Right?
Like I started
For
that in
for
2008. Like
yeah, right? For you youngins on here, you used to have to pay separate for texting, and you had
yeah,
limits on the number of texts you could send.
hmm
Anything past that, it was like 5 cents a message or something.
yeah. It
It
was
was
it was
crazy.
ridiculous, man.
And then
Yeah,
before that, you had to prepay your text messages.
hmm
That's how I started. I, had saved up money and bought a track phone in, like, 6th
yeah.
grade.
I had a track phone
It
as
had a
well.
SpongeBob faceplate
That's awesome.
that I bought from GameStop.
Yeah, and you couldn't like you could barely text on them, and then like you
It had the
couldn't
T9 texting.
couldn't take photos. T9 texting, you couldn't take photos, and you could like send like pre-made or Nokia gifs like of a kid kicking a soccer ball, but it was like pixelated. It was like Game Boy Color stuff. Yeah,
Now my Nokia didn't have a color screen. It had the antenna that you pulled out.
yeah, yeah.
It was the old brick Nokia,
Nice.
that you could change out faceplates, and it had Snake.
That's
And it
if
still basically looked like like a cordless house phone.
mhm. These
Crazy
are the
times.
good things about technology. I'm so happy to have an iPhone. I'm so happy I can just upgrade, to like the same phone again with
Yeah,
just
I
more
think about stuff
storage
like
and
that, like, I just got this Garmin watch,
ooh,
so that
nice.
hopefully I'll get my lazy butt back in the gym. But it tracks, like, blood pressure I mean, not blood pressure, heart rate,
Mhm.
stress levels, sleep, My
You'd be
breaths per
amazed
minute.
at how many lives that those watches and like Apple
Yeah.
watches have saved because Jess
Yeah.
gets guys in all the time that have went like AFib and stuff like that.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
Apple Watch I know has like it has an EKG built in, the blood pressure now on the newer ones. But like this one, it was crazy because yesterday I drank a Dr. Pepper. No, it
Mhm.
was a Coke. I drank a Coke from McDonald's. Um, and then the stress levels like immediately shot up. And then
Wow.
like the once the Coke got out of my system, it went back down.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like now I have this like hard data on my wrist that's telling me you made a bad decision. Don't drink a bunch of sugar and caffeine.
Isn't it crazy that when you start cutting things out, the minute you have it, it just
Oh, dude,
rewires
it's
you? Like
crazy.
I cannot do caffeine anymore. I have some coffee that I love that's caffeine. I can't do it. I've even had some decafs make me jittery. Not like
Really?
crazy jittery, but yeah, no,
I mean, there's a little bit in there, yeah.
caffeine straight up throws me into panic attack mode unless I'm very busy, but I just get uncontrollable jitters where like
Yeah.
I'll get nauseous or like
I'm kind of curious if because there's times I can have caffeine, and if I'm up and I'm moving around and I'm active, like you said, it
mhm.
doesn't bother me. And I wonder if it's because the energy has nowhere to go. So we're just
Yeah,
like we just start,
yeah.
we tense up and go crazy.
But I used to drink so much caffeine, man. I mean, I when Monster came out,
Welcome to 30
I drank the 4 pack, dude. The 4 pack.
in a
And
day.
I didn't know it was an energy drink. I was like, "Oh, cool." Yeah, and I drank a 4 pack in a day and I was like, "I'm going to die at the age of like 11." Like but it's kind of a bummer though because I believe that sometimes with certain issues that we have, like things you're not supposed to have can actually counter and make it better. Like I have a student that has severe ADHD,
Mhm.
um, but he'll drink coffee and it calms him down.
Yeah, I
So
mean, just they just affect people differently.
yeah, so it's weird. Like I can have some form, like I have some teas that are caffeinated, some
Mhm.
Tazo teas, and like they're fine. Sometimes I can feel it, but it's not like
Yeah.
full blown jitters.
Yeah,
So
my wife found me some caffeine-free, Earl Grey, which is one of my favorite
mm,
teas, and it's a loose leaf and, I put it in my little strainer, and then my other one is, hibiscus tea,
nice.
which actually lowers blood pressure,
Yeah. This is
so
the
I like
old
that one a
man
lot.
segment,
Yeah.
gotta keep
Yeah.
our prostates and colons in
We
check.
talk about our Nokias and our
And
teas,
our teas and how you shouldn't be having caffeine even though we're gamers and we should be slamming some Baja Blast right now.
some Doritos and
I
Baja
will
Blast.
still like I don't care where I will man, I still wanna get a Dr. Pepper or like a Baja Blast. Like,
So, for Dr. Pepper, I've switched to the 0 sugar,
hmm,
and once I kinda got used to the taste, it tasted a lot like the Dr. Pepper in
do you have to
Ireland,
microwave it? No, I'm
hot Dr. Pepper. Did I ever tell you about the Dr. Pepper in Ireland story?
no.
Okay, so for our 5th anniversary, which was about 5 years ago now, it'll be our
Mhm,
10-year anniversary this year, we try to do something big about every 5 years. Well, 5 years ago, we went to Ireland and landed in Dublin, drove like, we landed, rented a car, and immediately drove to the other side of Ireland,
mhm.
which is about 3.5, 4 hours. Um, which it felt longer at the time because I was sleep deprived. I made the mistake of not sleeping first.
Nice.
And so I was terrified driving in the wrong, I say the wrong lane, driving on the other side of the road
Mhm.
in a car that's mirror image to what I'm used to for the first time. And anyway, so we go through this whole trip and like I mean, it's Europe. There's just not as much soda.
Yeah.
People just don't drink it like we do here.
Yeah, which is a good
And
thing.
so we did most of our trip on, the western side of Ireland around,
Mhm.
Ring of Kerry and up through Galway and all that. Well, then we ended the trip back in Dublin. So we were driving back across and we're in the middle of nowhere and we come across a gas station. And number one, I tried to go in and prepay for my gas. And the poor girl in there looked at me like I was insane. Apparently that's
Wow.
apparently that's an American thing. She was like she
Jeez.
was like, "Just go pump your gas and then you bring in the money."
That's
I was like,
awesome.
yeah.
God.
But yeah, she was like, "Yeah, we don't prepay here." She's like, "You just go pump the gas and then." tell us how much you got." I was like, "Oh." And so anyways, while I was in the gas station, I saw Dr. Pepper in the little fridge section. I got so excited because it had been well over a week since I'd had a Dr. Pepper. I was coming from having 1 to 2 a day
Mhm.
at work, and I got it and got in the car, and I was so excited, and I drank it, and because of the regulations, there's next to no sugar in that thing, and it tasted worse than Diet Dr. Pepper. I
Did it
was like
really?
I
Oh,
was like,
man.
"What is this?
Yeah.
This
Mm,
doesn't say that it's, diet or anything."
yeah. That's
So
a bummer.
that's my random trying Dr. Pepper in Ireland for the
I
first time
like it.
story.
I like it. That's very nice.
Sorry,
Uh,
I got us way off topic.
that's that's okay. That's all right, man. Um, any other games that you have?
I'm gonna say, yeah, I'll just end it with gaming in general and how
Okay.
much of a coping mechanism that is in my
Yeah.
life. And that could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, but I feel like I don't use it to cope to the point of addiction.
Hmm.
No, well, I say that Tears of the Kingdom came
Yeah.
pretty dang
Yeah.
close to addiction.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Tears of the Kingdom, definitely. I have one more. Twilight Princess. That was the first Zelda I played after my mom passed away,
Mhm.
and that just got me through loss. It helped a lot, and
And it was an interestingly themed game for that time period in your life too, because it really is. It's kind of about that.
yeah, yeah, it is, and it's in my opinion up there with Majora's Mask and now Tears of the Kingdom. It's a dark game.
Yeah,
Uh, so, but it helped a lot with that. But yeah, just gaming in general has gotten us through difficult times, and it's definitely I don't know, like I just couldn't see a world without gaming in it
yeah,
because it sometimes is an addiction for me. Like, oh, I'm gonna go buy this game and then I never play it, you know. But
yeah. I'm guilty of that.
I think every gamer is guilty of that.
You should see my
Um,
Steam library. It's stupid.
I think my Switch library just topped 500 games.
Are you serious?
Yeah, yeah. So,
What? How big of an SD card do you have in
I
there?
have a 500 gigabyte. Yeah, but I have a lot of games, physical and digital, and
Yeah,
a lot of them were like those just kind of shovelware indie games that I was
yeah.
like, I
They're
want
like
to try this, but like I could just buy
one
it
to
with
five
points.
dollars. Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, I've had the console for 6 years now. I mean,
that's still like
it would be the same if I had
almost
a
100 games a year.
yeah, dude.
That's a game every 3 days.
Yeah, I'm terrible at math. Why are you doing this to me? No.
All right, well, I'll give it to you. It's a game every 4 days.
Yeah, game every 4 days. Good.
That's nuts. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it's insane. So, but I've really enjoyed the system. I was tempted to get a PS5, but I'm gonna finish Tears of the Kingdom.
It's okay. I understand.
Yeah, and I just
It is a good one.
I am so anti Xbox and Sony right now. Just with Xbox, I'm a little bit more lenient with actually because like I do like my Series S. I've noticed it
Mhm.
is fast. I can download games pretty quick, and it does run pretty good, honestly.
What do you have
Um,
against PlayStation?
I just don't like their. It's not that they have bad games coming out. I really don't like their business models right now. Like I don't like the fact that if I buy a PS5 now, in a few months they're going to announce something else. It's kind of like the Apple thing where it's like I don't
Mhm.
get the latest new iPhone because in a year they're going to have another one.
Right.
So that's kind of my beef, and I just don't honestly. I don't see innovation with them. Like, yes, the PS5 is a good system, but like this whole Project Q stuff, the Airbuds or whatever, like, and they're like, we're so innovative. I'm like, no, you're not. Like, you made a crappy Switch. You took what made the Wii U great, and now you are trying to make it better. Like, make a PS Vita too. Like, come on. Or like
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm sorry, but what the Switch has been able to do and Steam Deck has been able to do, they could totally PlayStation Sony could make handheld.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Sony's an electronics giant.
Hmm. Yeah. They could
It's
they could
more of, I
definitely make a
guess
handheld.
I guess it's because, like, Sony's demographic is more high fidelity, you know, massive games like Uncharted, God of War, Spider-Man, like all of those,
Yeah.
and a lot of the games that people would play probably aren't so much suited for, like, on the go,
Hmm.
which I guess is probably that's kind of the whole point of Project Q, but I don't know that the demographic would so much go for it, and they've seen this in the past with both the Vita and the, um oh, I just went blank on the name of the first one.
Hmm. Oh,
PSP,
PSP. Yeah.
yeah, and then there was the PS Go.
I
There were
think
there were 3.
yeah, there are three. I think the biggest issue I have is like one the reason why I don't have one is I can still get everything on PS4. Like
Yeah,
I can get everything on PS4. And two, it's just they kind of did some things and Microsoft too. Every company does shady stuff. I'm not like just pinpointing Sony, but like I get you have to move on and you have to like come up with new games, adapt to future, all that stuff. But the fact that they just kind of like abandoned Crash and Spyro and like classic mascots,
mhm.
and now they're kind of like they can't. I'm sorry, and I'm sure I'll get some hate for this. Sony cannot make a game like Nintendo. They can't. Like they have good action adventure games, they have good movie cinema games,
Right,
but like, dude, like I'm not saying this as a Zelda fanboy, but like Tears of the Kingdom revolutionized gaming again. It really just changed it. And like I have yet to see another company do that, you
yeah,
know? Like, yeah, God of War Ragnarok's a good game. It's a great story. It's God of War, but like, what's next?
yeah,
You know?
totally get it.
Yeah, you totally get it. So,
Yeah, so, like and I think that's why it's nice that there's choices because
mhm.
I go to PlayStation for when I want something cinematic.
Yeah.
If I want something that's more I don't wanna say the word casual because Tears of the Kingdom is anything but. I died almost as many times in Tears of the Kingdom as I
Hmm.
did Elden Ring,
Yeah.
um, just from making stupid decisions, but building machines that don't work. But I go to Nintendo more for when I want just a solid, kind of relaxing gaming experience.
Hmm.
I want adventure exploration or I want side scrolling, platforming,
Hmm.
things like that. So
I used to
it
be
is
that way.
interesting.
I used to be that way. That with Nintendo if I wanted to go back to that style of gaming. But now everything is pretty much on every console. So that's why I don't have a PS5 as well. Is like I was playing Doom Eternal on my Switch. I was playing Mortal
Right.
Kombat 11 and Skyrim, and those
Yeah.
were games that I used to have those systems for. So like, it's really weird that my favorite system has gotten all the games that I want to play on it. So now it's like, okay, if Nintendo can make a proper successor, it may be my favorite. Like the Switch is up there, the Switch is
Mhm.
probably my favorite system. It is my favorite system, but like if they could do a Switch 2, it might be like the ultimate favorite system of like, holy crap, I can play Elden Ring and you know,
That is true.
there's
Yeah.
talks of Dark Souls 2 and 3 coming over,
Mm.
maybe get like a real Resident Evil port over or something like 4 remake actually comes to it. Um
Yeah. Because I think both PlayStation and Xbox, Nintendo might actually end up being the last one that makes physical hardware.
yes, I do have the fear Nintendo's going to screw up though and be like, we're doing 100% VR, digital only, or cloud gaming, like something stupid because Nintendo is
Eh,
known to do that. But
kind of. They're also known to make something that has the widest appeal possible.
mhm,
That's kind of their thing.
yeah,
I could see PlayStation and Xbox going more cloud only way before Nintendo does. They're always last to jump
mhm,
on certain things.
yeah.
multiplayer is still an abysmal experience on the Switch.
Yeah, that's I think it works good for the games that like I can get in Mario Kart, Smash, Splatoon
Mhm.
fine, you know. But when it gets more to third party stuff, it's a little interesting.
I think it's
Diablo
more
3
like
worked great.
their protection
Hmm.
rules. So
Hmm.
like in certain games, like there's no actual chat, there's no like you can't really see you can kind of see the names of the people you're playing with, but you can't send them friend requests and
Yeah,
you have to have this ridiculously long friend code to add somebody.
it could definitely be more simpler. Like
Yeah.
they can definitely fix that. But well, that wraps up this episode. Be sure to check us out every Thursday on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
And if you have any moments where gaming has helped you through difficult times, be sure to let us know in the comments. We'd love to read them.
And remember, it's dangerous to go alone.